Hi there, welcome to this tutorial for the ukulele play-alongs of Count on Me as recorded by Bruno Mars. If you're wondering, hasn't that song been on your channel for a long time? It has, but only as GCEA and never as a tutorial and never for baritone. Some years ago, I started adding baritone songs to the channel as well, and then I started adding tutorials to answer the question, what's the strumming pattern? We'll get into that in strumming later in this video. Here's what we're going to do. First of all, we'll talk about the chords you need for GCEA soprano concert tenor ukulele. Then we'll talk about the chords you need for baritone DGBE ukulele, and then we'll get into strumming. If you want to support the work on this channel, there are three things you can do. First of all, you can like this video. Second, you can subscribe to this channel and its sister channel, so the UkePlayAlongs channel and the UkeStuff channel. And third, you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this content at www.buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. All right, let's begin with the chords you need for GCEA soprano concert or tenor ukulele. They're all pretty standard chords here. The first chord is the C chord. Then you'll need the E minor chord, which is probably the hardest of these chords, but it's one of my favorites. First finger goes on the first string, second fret. Second finger goes on the second string, third fret. Ring finger goes on the third string, fourth fret, and play all four strings. Now, if you have a low G GCEA ukulele, in fact, let me get one. Here it is with the magic of editing. It has the low G. Instead of going GCEA, it goes all the way up. If you have a re-entrant ukulele, you may not want to play E minor like this because it sounds a little muddy. If that's you, you may want to play E minor like this. You put your first finger down, second finger down, but then the ring finger goes to the fourth string, fourth fret, and then the pinky goes down next to it. You may like that version of E minor better than that version of E minor. Okay, back to the ukulele. All right, then we have the A minor chord, the G chord, the F chord, and then a D minor where you just put down your ring finger right next to it. So the F chord and the D minor are very close to each other. And those are the 6 chords you need to play Count on Me by Bruno Mars on GCEA soprano concert tenor ukulele. Now let's talk about baritone ukulele. All right, for baritone ukulele, and as a not so secret, this is actually a concert ukulele with Pepe Romero baby baritone strings on it, so I can play it like a baritone. It helps me when I'm changing on a recording not to have to jump scales, because baritone notes are much farther apart from each other than on a concert. So the first chord you'll need is a C chord, then an E minor chord, then the A minor chord, which is really like your C chord with an extra finger, your G chord, your F chord. This is the hardest one here. First finger goes right across strings 1 and 2, right above the middle first fret. Pull against the fretboard like this. You're going to hold your ukulele securely with your strumming arm, because all the strumming comes from your wrist anyway. So your arm here does most of the job of holding the instrument. This finger is going to cover those 2 strings right above the middle fret and pull. And then your thumb just adds some support there. You're not really pinching. I mean, there's a little bit, but most of it's a pull, which is going to save your wrist later. And then add 2 more fingers to it. That's your F chord. And then we have the D minor chord. First finger on the first string, first fret, second finger on the third string, second fret, and the ring finger on the second string, third fret. That's the D minor chord. And those are the 6 chords you need to play Count on Me by Bruno Mars on baritone DGBE ukulele. Now let's talk about strumming. The first thing when it comes to strumming I want to remind you is that there was no ukulele in the original version. A lot of people have covered it on ukulele, but no ukulele in the original version. So there's not one single right answer of what to do. There are 3 rules when it comes to strumming. First of all, play the right chord at the right time. Second, keep a steady beat with the recording or by yourself. And third, make sure that whatever you are playing matches the style of the music. If you do those things, you're in pretty good shape. Now, I'm going to give you 2 suggestions if you can't figure out something you want to do on your own. The first suggestion is to just play on beats 2 and 4. So you're skipping beats 1 and 3. So it'd be something like this. So you can play on basically the weaker beats through the entire song, and that would work just fine. The other thing you can do, and it's up to you whether you want to alternate between playing string 3 and then string 4, on your ukulele, or just to play 3 all the time, because that is the lowest note on a re-entrant tune ukulele. But it would be something like this. You'd pick string 3 and do a down strum and pick string 3 again, like that. And that's what you'd be doing for the whole song. It would sound like this. Like that. The other thing you can do is you can alternate between playing strings 3 and 4, which is what I naturally want to do, but it doesn't sound so much like the recording if you do it. So here's what that would sound like. Now, baritone is tuned linear. You can have linear GCEA as well, but in this case, hitting the 3rd string might not work for you. So on baritone, you might always want to do the lowest note. That might work better, as long as you're playing the right chord at the right time and you're keeping steady beat and whatever you're doing matches style music. That's all I need to do. So thank you so much for joining for this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.